So this past Monday, I had a psychiatrist appointment. I go every 3 months, and I have for the past couple of years to the same woman. It's a county facility, so it's not like top of the line, top tier. It's like people who can't afford psychiatric care, and we're very fortunate to have that. They even have like an on-site pharmacy, and I don't pay anything. My Medicaid covers it for me, but it's only 4 times a year, and a lot happens between each appointment, It's always so jarring whenever she's like, so how were the holidays? And I'm like, what the fuck? It feels like the holidays were truly eons ago at this point. And I have to kind of like mentally rewind and kind of go through what kind of emotions I was feeling, how I was handling things. I should come more prepared, but I never do. I have a lot of anxiety about getting treated for my anxiety, It's like getting to the doctor's office is a huge struggle. I want to cancel legitimately every time, and I dread it. When I tell you that the second that I leave my doctor's appointment is like the most relieved I feel for the next 3 months. I'm not kidding around. I dread those appointments, from the day after on, So I spend a lot of time dreading shit. And I don't find them helpful. I mean, a psychiatrist is not really where you're supposed to get your help. That's what a therapist's job is, or so I've been told. And I don't have one. I've tried therapy in the past. I've had a handful of them, and I've never really gelled with anyone to the point where I looked forward to going or thought I was getting anything from it. I've had one that was a Christian therapist because that was what my insurance could cover. I've had some that were actually, at a psychiatrist's office, and I would see the psychiatrist at that office, and then I would see a therapist there as well, so they could kind of they could coordinate their records, and just kind of talk to one another about what a good treatment plan is, or how I'm doing, or whatever. It was nice to have that direct line of communication. But when I got Medicaid, essentially no one takes your insurance anymore, and which is kind of shitty, I'm on disability for mental health issues, and yet the government is making it very hard for me to get help for those mental health issues. It is really screwed up, it's like they want me to just put a bullet in my head, and I tell you, I mean this sincerely, if I had a gun, I'd probably kill myself every week, so that's unfortunate reality for me. But I don't have one, don't have access to one, so no worries. But anyway, I've also had a therapist who I ended up kind of helping. I kind of served as his therapist because I could tell that he was genuinely overwhelmed with the amount of pressure it took to be a therapist to a lot of underprivileged people. And I am not the type of person who's necessarily an easy patient. I'm easy to get along with, and I'm really easy to talk to. I can engage in conversations really easily and freely. If I have to, but it's a performance. I have an hour with these people, and I can, put on a different face, and I can be somebody else, or I can be the version of myself I think I would be all the time if I didn't have so many hindrances. So I don't do therapy well, It's like I always just I want to be what people want me to be. I don't like disappointing people. I'm terrified of it, petrified of it. I mean, it's one of my biggest fears. I don't want to be criticized, and therapy is essentially a way to me, I view it as a way to judge and criticize and analyze. And it doesn't sit well with me. It's like, that's what I need help with, but that's not what I want. So anyway, I ended up helping him out a little bit. And he also kind of supported my eating disorder, so he wasn't really a good fit. I've always been very adamant and emphatic about the fact that, for therapy to work for me, yes, I need to be an active and willing participant. I get that. But they need to be a damn good therapist who is used to dealing with people who are sneakily deceptive. They need to see through that veneer and penetrate it and call me out on my bullshit, because I'm full of it. Most people, when they meet me, they never would believe there was something wrong with me. The fact that I'm my body is riddled and covered in scars, self-harm scars, and the fact that I would willingly choose suicide over having to confront things that I find scary. I don't have a very high value of my life, so it confuses people because it doesn't match with this part of me at all. At the end of the day, I've been diagnosed as having borderline personality disorder, But that was 10 years ago in April when I was committed to a psych ward for slicing my neck open, which I don't know if you can see it. I mean, you can always see it, but I don't know if I'm doing it right into the camera. But I have 2 razor blade slits on the back of my neck that I did very coolly and calmly. And I remember specifically when it was at my ex-girlfriend's duplex. And we were just sitting in the kitchen at the island and we were watching shit on YouTube. I don't know if we had a falling out or I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I was drunk, obviously. I always was. But I just took a fresh razor blade and just very deliberately sliced it. And I did it in multiple spots, but there was one that was extremely deep. Fresh razor blades with high pain tolerance and being a little drunk. Not a good combination. But anyway, 10 years ago now. People with bipolar or borderline personality disorder are notoriously difficult to treat. We have a very bad reputation. But I don't know, there's no scientific way to really determine whether or not this is what you have. I mean, they use the DSM-5, but, and you know, there's a checklist and you meet the specific number of symptoms and they kind of evaluate you and determine whether or not that's what you have, but it's an untreatable disorder when it comes to like medication. I'm on a mood stabilizer called Lamictal that's worked really well. I mean, it doesn't fix anything, but it makes my moods less intense. You know, it makes me to where I'm not like going from 0 to 60 in 0.00001 milliseconds when something is upsetting or jarring to me. It regulates me a little bit. I still am, compared to a normal person, extreme in the vacillation between anger, you know, that just typical high to low to angry to want to slit my wrist and die. I want to move away. I'm going to steal this money. I'm going to drink. You know, it just kind of like, it mellows me out a little bit. It gives me just the smallest amount of time between like when something shakes me or when, you know, when a big emotion happens. It gives me a little bit of an opportunity to get a handle on it before it really goes before I go off the deep end. But I'm still, a normal person would think this was a nightmare to have to live with, and they'd be correct. But I'm not in a relationship, which is something that's very triggering for a lot of the BPD symptoms. And I'm in a very controlled, structured environment, living with my parents. I mean, as frustrating as that can be for them and for me, it's necessary, it's mandatory at the moment, and I have been getting progressively better, but I'm still a mess. And I still need this kind of dependent way of living for a while. Maybe forever. I mean, they won't live forever, but who knows if I'll ever be able to live on my own. I don't know. Because the truth of the matter is that like anytime I have any pressure or stress or anxiety that builds up, I don't respond well to it. I mean, even with the Lamictal, I have very dramatic, extreme responses to stimuli like that. To where like I already mentioned, I start immediately thinking of ways to kill myself to get out of stuff. I don't fear that in that moment. You know, if I'm sitting here having time to think about it, I can talk myself out of suicide. I'm like, no, that's dumb. You like living. There's a lot to live for. But in the heat of the moment, that's like, yep, that's the way. That's the exit sign I need to go to and I know that's crazy. But I know that it's a lot easier to handle all of that when I'm here and I have people that are very supportive of me and I can talk to them, I can go to them, and they don't put pressure on me. So, but I mean, like all that said, I need a therapist. Because medication alone ain't cutting it. As much as I feel like, yeah, I'm getting better, but in many ways, I'm not. I've absolutely reached a plateau and a sense of stagnation, and I don't know how to get over it. Overcoming obstacles seems like it's what I have a PhD in, you know? It's like anorexia, did it. I've overcome it several times now, 4 times. I haven't relapsed since 2016. December of 2016, we hit the 3-year alcoholism. I was able to quit that shit cold turkey. My first time trying to actually quit, I was able to do it. And now I've been sober longer than I was in the midst of that disease. Yeah, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I get it. I'm an addict. But I was able to quit that vice. And who knows if I will succumb to it again. But I am in a controlled environment with non-drinkers. I have not been challenged in that way in a long time. When I first got sober, I lived with my girlfriend who was also an alcoholic and one who was very deep into it, kind of careening towards a rock bottom that would eventually come 10 months later. But that means that I was stuck at home with a ton of vodka for her entire work shift every day, and I never took a sip. And thanks to Lady Gaga for that. If I've been in your life, you know the story of why she's connected to my sobriety. But it's there, it's real. And the other thing that I've been able to overcome was self-harm. But here's where it gets tricky. I think about it a lot. And to the point where, I mean, this is hard. Like, that's the area that I'm struggling in a way that freaks me out a smidgen. I have been able to sleep my way out of self-harming many times in the past, 6 months. And in the past, 3 months, that call has gotten a lot louder and a lot more frequent. To where I'm visualizing it happening and I'm getting excited about it and I'm getting desperate for it. It's very strange and it doesn't make any sense and it freaks me out and it feels stupid to talk about, honestly, because what the fuck is wrong with me, really? And in the past month, I saw a movie that featured a very graphic self-harm scene, and not just simple self-harm, I'm gonna cut my arm or something. It was intending to die, attempted suicide type of self-harm, and it was with razors and it's slit wrist, and it was, to call me a snowflake, but it was triggering for me, and it was difficult to watch. There's a reason that I avoid all films that have to do with anorexia, and because that will trigger me immediately and I will spiral and I will start starving. I know myself. Alcoholism, I can watch movies about that and not get triggered because they're not drinking the way I did and they're not drinking for the reasons that I did. But anorexia and self-harm, boy, I gotta stay away from that shit. And it's a specific type of self-harm. And the other reason that I need a therapist is because, and probably also nutritionist, is that I have got to figure out how to eat right. Unlike, most normal people, I have a lot of ritualistic things about eating that are remnants of my anorexic past, but that I haven't been able to shed. I have to eat alone. I can't have people watching me. I make very rare exceptions, when I'm on vacation with my parents, which, is once a year thing, and I have to eat with them. We only virtually eat at Subway or some kind of fast food restaurant because we are traveling on a budget, shoestring as all get out, and I can do that. I have my safe food options. That's another thing, is that there are foods that I still haven't allowed myself to eat yet, despite the fact that I'm not starving anymore. And I need to learn how to stop being this way. And I get in these obsessive ruts where I only eat the same thing for every meal. And usually it's just all at once, after anorexia, I became a binge eater. I have no sense of regulation. I guess it's that black and white thing, or it's the addictive part of me, to where, I can't have one drink. I can't have just one bite of something. I can't just have one candy bar. I'd have to have all the candy bars. I don't know why I use that example. I haven't had a candy bar since I was a child. But that's what we're going with, because you get the point. And so I am eating enough calories every day to make the normal person balloon up in weight to an unhealthy degree. I just was blessed with a metabolism that keeps me average when I'm eating way above average amount of calories. And because these things are never healthy that I'm overdosing on, recently, my last, like, month, I don't know, month and a half, it's chips, tortilla chips, and queso, and salsa, and sour cream every night. Until I am, like, so full that I can't eat another bite. I had been adding ice cream on top of that, but I'd cut that out because dairy kind of makes me break out, and I'm currently experiencing this, like, miracle of having relatively clear skin for the first time in God only knows how long, and I don't want to jinx it. I've gone through periods where it's just pizza, and I have to eat all of it. Like, I can't leave any leftovers. I just have to gorge myself on this. It's been, like, Lay's potato chips. It's been cereal. I've pretty much done it. And I need to emphasize that I'm not being hyperbolic here. I mean, these are thousands of calories every night. And it's the same food, and it's all processed, and it's all bad for you. There's, like, no substance there. So you can... It doesn't take, like, a rocket scientist or a, like, trained doctor to understand that I'm not getting a lot of nutrients. Very deficient on many. I do take vitamins to try to compensate for that, but I have run into this issue before where my eyes, I have what's called optic neuropathy, and it's bilateral. It's in both eyes. And what that means is that the optic nerve es muerto. Doesn't work anymore. It's never gonna be able to work right again. There's no way to correct this issue. It's permanent. And it just means that the central vision is permanently blurred. Like a window that needs... I'm not sure if that cut off or not, but it's like a dirty window that needs to be cleaned, and you just can't ever seem to Windex it enough, you know? Like, it's always going to be blurred and gross. Peripheral is what saves my ass. Which is why I can't drive outside of the city limits, and my anxiety pretty much prevents me from doing that anyway. So, we're good there. But the only reason I'm bringing that up is that the reason that they deducted that likely happened, their educated guess, my neuro-ophthalmologist, was that it's nutritional deficiency combined with my alcoholism, because alcohol prevents, when you're an alcoholic, your vitamins have a way of being absorbed improperly. You're not getting all that you need to from those nutrients. So, vitamin deficiency is a serious thing to me. It's not a joke. I went through a really long period where I would only eat popcorn every meal. And, and so, this is like, and that was a decade ago. Like, and before that, when I first fixed my anorexia, fixed by myself, I didn't have any doctors help me. It was just me. I didn't go to, like, rehab. I didn't go to inpatient. There was no intervention, medically speaking. There was lots of family intervention. Rightfully so, justifiably so. I was 19 years old and weighed 85 pounds. Makes sense. And I'm 5'5", you know, I'm not, like, Lady Gaga size. And so anyway, I have been doing this shit forever. Like, the way that I fixed that anorexia was by eating a whole bunch of cereal, like boxes of it every night. And eventually I started using an emetic. I don't know how you say it, Ipecac or something like that. Just Googled it. It's Ipecac. And it was just like an over-the-counter emetic. Like I said, it makes you sick. It's like poison control. They had it in, like, the baby section of the grocery store, and it's very cheap. And it is vile tasting, and I still have nightmares about it. I was watching The Leftovers, the TV show, and there's a scene where the character's trying to commit suicide or whatever and changes her mind, so she gets it out of, like, the first aid kit and immediately starts, you know, vomiting it up, projectile style. And I'm like, been there. I remember laying on my bathroom floor, like, wondering, will this ever stop? And another way that I would, like, overcompensate for this, like, binge eating was exercising a lot. But let me tell you something. You people you people who have those, like, trackers, those, like, I'm counting my steps, or you go to, like, a gym and they show you how many calories you burned, that is a farce. Like, it's good to get moving. Obviously, I support exercise, but, like, don't think that you can outrun or outwork out ingesting a shit ton of calories. It's just not going to happen. But I digress. It started a very unhealthy situation for me where I just started eating less and less and less. Anyway, back to what really matters. I have probably for my entire adult life had very poor nutritional intake and very low water intake. I've been perpetually dehydrated and starved in many areas for a long time. And I am 34 years old now, and it's starting to catch up to me. The water intake, I pretty much live off of diet soda, and if I drink one glass of water, straight water a week, I'm like so proud of myself. So I can try a million times to do this on my own. And I always start with the right intentions, and I will buy like stuff for salads, and I'll buy some apples, and I will get like chicken. I will do everything right. I'll make like brown rice or whatever. And then I start making the portions smaller every day until I'm eating like 600 to 800 calories a day and still doing my workouts, which aren't rigorous. I mean, I do like 30 minutes of abs, and I do like squats and arm stuff, and I go on like a 3-mile walk with the dog. But she's 11. Well, she'll be 11 February 2nd, but close to 11. And so she didn't go fast anymore, and I don't pull her, I'm going to go at her speed. So it's bad, it gets bad really quick. I immediately go back into that mindset where I'm afraid to take a bite of food again. So I feel like if I had somebody who was just like, this is what you need to eat, and gave me a meal plan, then I would follow it to a T, because I am obsessed with perfectionism, and my desire to please is like the most important guidance that I have in my life. My compass is always telling me like, do exactly what somebody wants, because then you'll maybe get a pat on the back. Maybe they'll tell you good job, and it's like, I'm a puppy in that way. I love it. Just scratch behind the ears. But I digress. I have never had a nutritionist. I mean, I know that's so wild, but they're not free and they're not readily available. I remember I tried to get one during my last bout with anorexia, and they said that they do not treat people who have eating disorders. And I'm like, who the fuck are you treating? Like, who needs you then? Everyone's got some disordered eating. Jesus, I guess it's a liability thing, but it's like insurance. So I'm trying to see how this process will go. I mean, I can't imagine Medicaid willingly covering a nutritionist. But if I go to like a general practitioner, maybe they can give me a referral for one if I explain my history. There's a doctor, a hospital in town that I went to when I was sick, so my records would be there when I weighed, 78 pounds or whatever, because I weigh too much right now, and I'm aware of that. And I would like to lose a little weight, and I need to do that without going to the bad place. I need to be able to just lose like 15-20 pounds without it ending up losing 60 pounds. And I'm scared. I'm scared. I really worry about my health, like I know that my brain is not functioning at the level it should be. I have so much trouble articulating, finding the right, and like when I'm writing, I don't have so much trouble locating words or formulating sentences or keeping my train of thought, but it's also not as easy as it used to be for me. And I worry if that's anxiety or that's hampering my ability to perform at the level I would like to, or if it's just like age. But I'm 34. It's not old. And maybe it's like remnant, it's something that happened with alcoholism, the years of abusing my body caught up to me. I don't know, but it could be just dehydration. It could be lack of nutrients, I don't know, but I'd like to fix it. I'd like to see. That would make me very happy. So I'm putting this out there for accountability's sake. I mean, my dog just came in. Hey, Raleigh. Hi. So anyway, my goal is to try to get a nutritionist and to try to get a therapist for very different reasons, but they're probably all connected. Just like most every other woman or man, I don't know, everybody. I use food as a way to soothe and as an emotional crutch, coping mechanism, and I don't know what I'm going to supplant that with. I don't know what's going to be the supplement for that. And we'll see. I'm hoping the therapist can kind of help with that too. I clearly have a lot of issues. I have compulsive problems and that adherence to a routine that I rely on, that need to control things, and the way that I eat to avoid dealing with shit. All problems that can be fixed, I think. Right? Right?